Dear Slot.it and Policar friend, welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you, as promised, the new tooling for year 2022. So we're going to talk about cars from Slot.it, cars from Policar, and what is new not only for liveries but mostly for tooling. So let's start from Slot.it. So let's start from a car that you all know because it's not a new car, but we have performed an important change on it. It's the Audi R8 Lmp, a car that in reality dominated the LMP races for so many years. What's new in this car? Well, we have replaced the LMP type guide with a standard guide. Actually, this is a new pickup with more space between the braids to match the Policar track more closely, and with two grab screws in the front better keep the braid in contact with the wire. Next new mold, Jaguar XJR10. We have been developing the Jaguar XJR10 for years, then left it and then started again when the conditions were right. It's a completely new car except for, say, the rear wing and the windshield, because this is not just a Jaguar XJR9 and Jaguar XJR12 with a new body. The original car had a wheelbase which was about 30 centimeters, 25 centimeters longer. So we had to design a new chassis alongside the new body. As you can see, it's a really aggressive shape. The car is very fast on the track, on the slot car track, because it's low, it's long, and it has all it needs to be extremely competitive out from the box. This is going to be released very soon because the production of the first model, which is this one, has been already finished, and the car is landing on our warehouse very soon. Next, couple of classic cars. Let's take them together, even if I don't think they ever race together, because this car is a later car than the Chaparral 2F. Okay, where do we start from? They're both very nice, both very quick, and they'll race very happily together and together with the other Slot.it. So let's start from the Ferrari 512M. The color that you see here is not the proper one. It's a very nice model in my opinion. This is the first livery that we're going to release. The tooling is ready and it will be released in the course of 2022. Same for the Chaparral 2F. You know how much I like Chaparral cars, so we try to make things very properly, because this is a Daytona version and it has quite a few differences compared to the versions that appeared later in the year, like the one that raced in the Targa Florio, or the one the World Championship race in Brands Hatch later in 1966. What are these main differences that we're trying to duplicate in our model car? First, you see there are no openings on the front. The aerodynamic duct that was opened later in the season was closed in Daytona, and the car also came with these two little cylindrical air intakes here in the nose. Other significant changes in the car, which is very different from the ones that appeared later on, are I don't have it here actually, but there is no periscope mirror. There is a mirror that we are duplicating, which comes out from the driver's window. This part of the body here does not have air extractions from the radiators. Rather, the radiators, the hot air was expelled from the back of the car. So you can also see these two vents here. One last thing, the area here in front of the motor was left completely open. We of course could not leave it completely open because we do not have a rear engine replica inside. So we've covered it with a small black part, which leaves as much as possible visibility inside the car, but we are masking the electric motor because it will be completely out of context. And like in its predecessor 2E, which is whose rear wing this car is sharing, the rear wing here can be adjusted like in the real car in 2 positions. Ferrari 512M, this is another new mold. Let me show you how the car is made. It's a standard slotted car with 2 front screws, same as the chaparral. It's a offset 0.5 millimeters sidewinder motor mount. It has a quite intricate reproduction of the rear frame and lights, and the color of this livery, as you can see in this specimen here, is not correct. It will be adjusted, of course, to match the proper red later when the car will be shipped to our customers. Well, actually in production before that, hopefully. It's a car that runs very well, will be very happy to compete against other slotted cars, and we have put a lot of effort in the development of the mold and of the proper shape of the cars, and I hope you will like it. Okay, so far we have detailed Jaguar, Chaparral 2F, Ferrari 512M. So what next? Well, it's the Mercedes C-Classe DTM. Let me tell you that I have this car in my hands, and I think it's one of the nicest cars that we've ever made. Honestly, maybe it's the yellow with the black wheels, the shiny lights in front and rear, the tamper printing. I'm delighted by the prototype that I have in my hands. It's really nice. As you can see, this is already a pre-production decoration prototype. It's a standard for us DTM mechanic, inline, 25,000 RPM, 0.5 millimeters offset. It's a car that, as you can see here, will also change the front spoiler in order to match the later versions of the car, and the same is true for the rear end of the car. So we will make properly both the 1994 and 1995 version. Last new mold for Slot.it, but it's not a completely new mold, but I want to show you. It's the Porsche 962 version, which raced with a detached rear wing from the tail. The front of the car, the main part of the body, is the 962 that you already know, but we have introduced a few significant differences to replicate these cars, like these splitters, 3 different types of rear wing, like in the real cars, and this will be out at the end of the year if we will be able to schedule it in production, because we have a very busy production schedule. But because we already have this in our hands, I was anxious to show you, and I think this would be a very nice addition to any collection of Porsche 962 from Slot.it. Now to Policar. Policar is coming out this year with 2 completely new molds and 1 updated version of another car. So let's go straight to the new items from Policar, and let's start from the modified Ferrari 312 B2. 312 B2, wide nose, first car we make with this special mold, driven by Mario Andretti in Jarama. Just to let you know, the car with this nose raced in Jarama and in South Africa. We chose to make the Jarama because we had the possibility to modify the tooling in order to match the rear end of the car more precisely. The South African car is very different, so the Jarama car is probably less known, but we chose to make something that we could replicate very precisely. Oh, while we are on the subject, This is not a new mold, but it's a car that is definitely worth a mention. This year we are going to release the Lotus 72E, driven by Ronnie Peterson in John Player Special livery, as he drove the car with #1 to victory in the Monaco Grand Prix. I think I don't need to add anything else to this. It doesn't get any more iconic than this car. New mold for this year: Brm P160. This is pre-production prototype, like the other samples that I'm going to show you in this video. Joe Siffert drove this car to victory in Austria on the Österreich-Ring. Back then it was called Spielberg Grand Prix, and it is now known as the Red Bull Ring. We've put a lot of effort in this car, and it is worth mentioning that in production the exhaust will be printed in 3D. Printing in 3D the exhaust allows us to design the exhausts the way they were on the real car, because exhausts are always very difficult, very intricate, and if they have to be properly rendered in tooling, either they have to be adjusted, designed in multi-part pieces, which is always a headache when the car is put together in production. So 3D printing allows us to design the exhausts the way they were and maintain a better quality throughout the production process. Here it is for you. We are going to make the P153 next year, and we are also preparing the Jean-Pierre Berthois Monaco winning car. And last, a car that also needs no presentation. It's the Ferrari 126 C2 of 1982. It is the first wing car that we're going to make. There will be more. And again, the car is this is a test tooling shot. The exhaust and the turbo wastegate is going to be made in 3D. We have designed the standard rear wing, the Long Beach wing, and 3 different nose cones. The car was driven by Jules Villeneuve, Didier Pironi, Mario Andretti, and Patrick Tambay. At the end of the year, this area here was changed to a different one, and in the future we will also make that version. I'd like to show you the new motor mount and the new Venturi tunnels. This motor mount has been designed so that we could replicate this car and the Venturi tunnel very properly. I'm really happy with the way they came out. So, for now, from Maurizio Ferrari, from Slot.it and Policar, is all for today. Thank you for watching. We will be in Verona at the Hobby Model Expo in a couple of weeks, and I will be broadcasting live from the event. Thank you very much.